everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The New Normal with Chantelle and Lee. So, what we got going on today? Actually, look at our cool shirts. Wow. Look at your shirt.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. So, we got these new shirts, for the New Normal podcast. How do you feel?
New shirts, new Chantelle.
New shirt, new Lee.
Yeah. The
Kind of.
Chantelle. The Chantelle with uneven number of teeth.
Okay, let's talk about this. So I got my wisdom teeth pulled out on Friday. Today is Sunday. Not that it really matters to whoever's listening at whatever time, but I was so scared going in to get my wisdom teeth pulled out. And like there's this thing called PRF. Actually don't know what it's called. Something, I don't know what it's called. But basically they draw blood out of your arm and then they pack whatever yellow thing is from the blood, which is like healthy to help your recovery. So they get that thing and they pack it back into the hole from the tooth. And I didn't want that and I didn't get it. So now I'm super like paranoid about my recovery. But okay, so basically the experience was I was like super nervous and scared. The doctor was asking me, he was like, "Are you okay?" Like, I guess this looked like I'm gonna pass out. So I was like holding my hands like really tight and then like moving my shoes so that I don't like, I don't know, just so that I feel like comforted in a way, that I'm like there for myself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
You're
And then
cuddling yourself.
kind of, and then it helped that I wore like a super fluffy like sweater because like I felt comfort. And then when they were putting the syringe in or whatever it's called, the anesthesia, local anesthesia, right?
They put gums, not gums. What's it called? Jelly? Jello?
Oh, like the numbing cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, the numbing gel, actually it's numbing gel. They put that in first and then they take that huge syringe thing full of the local anesthesia and then they like stab my gum. They're like, oh, it's gonna be a little pinch because they're like worried that I'd probably pass out from the needle. But then I'm like, if I can't see it, it's fine, just do it. So they did it real quick. And then like I felt like the thing working and then it's fine. And then when they were trying to extract my tooth, I like didn't feel anything, which is nice because I thought I was gonna feel like a little bit of something. And then I could hear the cracking sound and like the pulling and the pressure that kind of freaked me out a little bit. But because I was not feeling any pain, I was like fine. I was like totally fine. I was just nervous that he had a hard time pulling out the bottom tooth because it's like impacted. So it's like growing at an angle. And then he
When
had
I
to.
when I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, when they applied pressure on my teeth, that felt satisfying for me. Did you feel that?
Really? Well, like part of it, yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I'm fine with it. But the cracking noise, I'm kind of like freaks me out a little bit.
So when they were drilling on my teeth, I like smell the smoke
Oh
and
shit, yeah.
everything. That didn't feel good. But then when they were pulling hard, it felt satisfying for some reason.
I know, like when he finally took the whole tooth out, that's how I felt. Actually, not more than satisfying. I felt more relieved, you know?
When you did they put like a cloth around your mouth and then
No,
you couldn't see?
no, he was so clean. Like, even with the blood and everything, he had an assistant. And so he did drill my teeth as well. And then I didn't smell anything or whatever. Like it was pretty clean. And then I didn't think he would take the whole tooth out from the root, but he did because he was having a hard time. He was like, okay, at one point he was like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? You can't just leave it there. And he was like, can I have this? Can I have that? And I was like, oh shit.
There's
Like
there's nothing that blocks your vision. You can see everything.
I can see everything. I was just wearing sunglasses.
Okay.
Did you have the whole cloth thing? You couldn't see?
I don't remember if it was on me or I see this on somebody else, but they put like a big cloth thing and then they only pull the teeth they're gonna operate on through the gap.
Oh,
But I don't
yeah.
remember what that was for. Yeah, maybe it's not for extraction.
Yeah, maybe it was for something else.
Mm.
But yeah, that was my experience with being accidentally
Did the
there.
doctor have any conversation with you during the operation?
No, he's really good. He just kept asking periodically if I'm fine, if I felt pain. And then I would be like, yeah, I'm good. Oh, can you feel anything? Kind of. Like I just like communicated with hand gestures.
During my operation, she said something along the lines with of like there are three nerves or something. She could only pull out two. Should she stop? Just leave the last one in there? I was like, no, no, keep on going. And she said,
What the
oh, you,
heck? They ask you that before they do the operation, not during. How can you make like a decision when you're like have your mouth fully open and what?
well, I didn't numb your brain. I was that took like 3 hours or something, and then she almost gave up on the last nerve. And then
Damn.
she asked me, I was like, no, don't stop. I can keep doing this for another 3 hours. Just keep going at it. And
Jeez.
yeah, eventually she took it out.
Maybe she was the one who was tired, not you.
Yeah, but I don't know any what the implication is for leaving a nerve in there. I don't want
Yeah.
any of that.
That's yeah, that's why he was having a hard time with the root. Like I don't know if that has like difference with the nerve or whatever, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I don't know if it's called nerve. That's just how I remembered it.
okay.
But there's something to pull out. It's like a small thing. They show it to you.
Mm,
Yeah. But they
yeah.
didn't give me my teeth, I don't think. But they give you yours.
Yeah, because I asked for it. They asked me, I was like, they're asking me, do you want to keep your wisdom teeth or not? And I was like, well, yeah, whatever. I'll just take it and show my parents, how big these
Eh,
things are.
is it weird looking at your teeth?
When they're out, yeah, a little bit. Because then, like, I can only see, like, I try to look at my teeth and how, like, messed up it is. Because I really don't like, I've been delaying taking out my wisdom teeth. So seeing it out is like, again, it's like a relief. And to see how big they are too, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I took that out. Otherwise, there would be further implications, like you said, later down the road if they continue to impact all my other teeth. So
Knowing that how big of a hodler you are you gonna keep your teeth forever now?
hodler, like hoarder?
Hoarder? Is it what's it called?
No, I'm not a hoarder. I'm learning to let things go.
What are you planning
Am I gonna keep
to
it?
do with the teeth?
Honestly, I might throw them out. I don't know. I don't know yet. Or I might put them in with my like baby stuff because I have like some of my old teeth from before. We'll see. I don't even know what my parents are gonna do with them. Maybe like make a scrapbook when my mom has lots of time later when she retires. Who knows?
Is
I,
there
I
a
really don't
tradition?
know. Um, no, I think just like growing up, it's a North American thing again to like put your teeth under your pillow and get like money from the fairy, the tooth fairy.
Hmm.
My parents used to do that. So it was more like a bravery thing because I was brave to take out my tooth by myself. Like I think there's only a few times where my parents helped me take out my baby teeth, and then the rest was like me. Because I knew like after the first few that I can just pull it out, like yank it.
There's methods in China that they put a string on your teeth, one side on your teeth, they tie the other side onto the door and they close the door real hard and then they pull.
Damn, no, I heard about that stuff too. But I did the tying thing. So my dad would tie it and then he'll like be like pull or he would do it.
Yeah, and also this tradition in China is if it's your upper teeth, you want to throw it as low as you can, like throw it in the ditch or in the hole or something. And then if it's the bottom teeth, you want to throw it as high as you can on the ceiling or on the roof,
What the heck?
so that it means like the top teeth is gonna grow down further, like the bottom
Oh,
teeth is gonna grow up.
what? So
Yeah.
then what happens when you chuck that thing? It's just gonna stay there forever?
Yeah,
Even one day you're gonna come across your tooth, you're like, I'll remember that.
it might not be yours. You go to China, on the roof is thousands of teeth
Ew,
accumulated.
that's so gross.
No,
Might
I'm
as well
joking.
donate it to the people who need it.
No, I'm joking. Probably like, I don't know, people cleaned it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So after the extraction, they were telling me like all the aftercare and stuff, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna eat. Like I'm doing a juice cleanse for like 3 4 days, and they're like, oh, that's like too much juice, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing it. I already paid for it, and like I already have it ready to go.
How did
And
you arrive at the decision?
okay, because I didn't take the PRF thing or whatever the blood thing that they pack onto the hole when they extract the tooth. Um, I was kind of scared because they kept on saying, "Oh, like we do this because we want to prevent dry socket. It'll help with your recovery." And then I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like so, I started looking up the dry socket thing, and then I got scared, and I was just like, "Oh, basically, yeah." Like I was just scared the whole time. So basically, dry socket happens when the blood clot is dislodged, and then it can't really, recover itself. So I'm like, okay, so that there's it's a foolproof way to
You know,
make sure that I'm
there's a saying that's everybody's life is driven by two feelings, love and fear. But your
well.
but your life is only driven by one, by fear. Everything's driven
No,
by fear.
no. A lot of changes came out of love too,
Okay, go back to your teeth.
Change
So
your tone real quick.
okay,
Yeah, I'll word.
so why
Um,
juice?
so then I was like, okay, I don't really do good with fasting. I mean, I do intermittent fasting now. Um, maybe not as regularly as I want, but I'm familiar with intermittent fasting. And I know
What was the longest fasting you've done?
probably like a day and a half.
And then what happened? How did you arrive at the conclusion that you're not good at fasting? Because you wanted to eat?
Yeah, like
Hmm.
I don't think I'm like as mentally strong, as I want to be. And then I give in because I'm like starving already. Like
Mm.
I'm just, yeah, I don't
So
know, maybe it's
because
a habit.
because of the last experience with fasting, you think you're gonna like it wasn't a pleasant experience, you think you're gonna give in. So instead you're gonna drink juice this time.
Yeah, and then like the juice thing too, like I feel like even though I'm not eating anything, I am consuming like essentially fruits and vegetables and whatever. So I feel like I am still getting the nutrients, whereas I'm fasting. I still had a good experience with fasting. Don't get me wrong, like mental clarity, like everything like that. I'm supposed to feel like and just giving my body a break from having to eat, especially like red meat, for example.
When you
But
fasted last time, did you eat nothing? Or you still like drink juice and coffee?
no, no, I did the full fasting, like proper fasting, like no calories, not even nothing, no juice. It's just straight water to keep me going.
That's good.
Yeah. So then I like the effects of fasting because I feel like because I'm only drinking water, I have clearer skin and all of this stuff, like mental clarity. Um, but yeah, for sure, the first few hours is like I'm like fatigued, but then you get used to it and then you pick up again. Anyways, with the juice cleanse, I was like, oh, I'm still getting my nutritions in. I know that I need something nutritious to help the healing process with my teeth. So then that was like my logic is that I'm still going to get something nutritious per se. Um, and then I'm going to go for like 3 or 4 days. So it's like a prolonged period of time that I'm not eating. So that's where I'm like, okay, I'll just do a juice cleanse, even though it's not something I actually done before.
So is this something you thought of without research? You would you never talk to any medical professional, no nursing friends.
No, I guess social media got to me because I know certain like some people who do juice cleanses and they're like, oh, it's so good, like my skin's clear and all this stuff. Like I'm like, okay, great. Like it's a reset. I'm still consuming something. It's not like it's just nothing. So it's gonna help with my recovery.
Is it from the same place you bought your juice?
What do you mean?
Like the social media people who are saying juicing is good, did they buy juice from the same place you bought them?
No.
What if juicing is good for them because their program was better and then you bought it at the wrong place?
I mean, like I no, I mean I still I didn't do my research necessarily, but I know that this place is known for juicing.
So
So
you
that's why.
so what was the buying process? You went to them and you said, I want a program that can cure my dry socket.
No, I don't want dry socket. I'm preventing my dry socket. So
Mm.
what I did was I just went online. I saw the three options for their juice cleanses, and then there's a hardcore one where it's all like greens, and then there's another one that's like I think just for the day or something. I can't remember. And then there's one that's a beginner one. And so I did the beginner one, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll do 3 days of like straight juicing. And then on the day of the extraction, it was already half the day gone. So I just bought like two or three extra bottles so that it would like hold me over for the actual one day one, two, and three.
So you didn't even talk to the people from the juicing place.
No, because it says starter cleanse. So I'm like, if I'm a starter, they'll just take that.
Yeah, but then don't they have some type of like, oh, you should start this way, like cut your meal to half and then go to no meal, like ease into it, or some type of like nothing, you just don't care, you just want to get the product and try it.
Yeah, there's a guide. There's a, pre-cleanse,
You're the type of
cleanse,
person,
post-cleanse. I didn't do any of that. But I ate way healthier for sure a week before.
you're the type of person who pulled out a chair from IKEA, just want to put it together without reading the manual, huh?
Whoa, whoa, that's what you do. It takes one to know one. No, you do that. I always read the instructions, but I'm familiar with juice cleanses even before all the social media stuff. That's why I lean toward that one this time. I mean, I tried doing a juice cleanse before, actually, like I don't know, back in like 2011, 2012.
I
So
think
like
you're
10 years ago, I did it.
Yeah, I think in your case, juice is kind of misleading too, because it's not just fruit. You have vegetables in there.
Yeah.
Like mostly is vegetables actually.
It is mostly vegetables. So that's why I lean towards it because they're saying that, oh, you shouldn't drink too much juice, it's too sweet. But then I looked at the ingredients and I mean, I don't know, for me, how I read it, it's not that bad. That means beets, carrots, celery. Like it's the only thing that's like maybe not good is that it's acidic. But because they like mix it with other things to balance the pH levels or whatever, then I think that it was fine. Like I made an executive decision for myself that it was fine. And like so far, so good. Like it didn't, affect anything. The only thing it really affected was my stomach. But anyways, yeah.
Since you're in an executive role at the new normal, you start to make executive decisions now.
I just think that it's like you make your own decisions, you critically think, like it's not always based on someone else.
Oh,
So yeah, so I
it's
just
not
made the
always,
decision for myself.
yeah, medical decisions not always based on research, right? When you
No, it's not that. It's not that.
Okay,
You
that's
know,
cool. Let's talk about your
sometimes it's good to experience something for yourself.
yeah,
You never
experiment.
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I made my own experiment on myself.
yeah. Your data point one of one.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So what was your experience like then?
With the cleanse?
Yeah. Like afterward, after you left dental office, how did you feel? What happened?
Yeah, actually I didn't feel too much pain. And like luckily, knock on wood, like there's not much pain. After like 30 minutes, I took the gauze out, and then like I know you're not supposed to spit, but like I had to take all of that residue out from after. I didn't spit, I like drooled it out. And then I had to go pick up the juices and stuff. But between then, I lost my appetite really. I think that what held me over the first day was that I really lost my appetite, and I took medication right away when I could, like when I was comfortable to swallow. So then I took my medication that was prescribed, and then I had the first juice, and then I really sipped on it. I didn't, yeah, I like I said, I lost my appetite. So
Yeah,
the
for the
next day
first day,
though, yeah,
you don't really want to eat. Like when I
okay,
got my teeth pulled out for the first, I think day, maybe 2 days, I only drank coconut water. That's all I had.
yeah, that's pretty
And
good too.
yeah, and I wasn't hungry or anything.
Yeah.
So
Basically, that was my experience, is that I wasn't hungry, so I just sipped on all of my juice.
when you drank your first bottle, were you like, oh, thank God I could drink this? Or like, is it taste so good? Like, I can't wait for the next one? Or like, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think with the first one, I was like, oh, this is actually really good. I'm glad that I'm doing this and I don't have to starve myself. Um, and then after like, what was it? The second day,
How many
I was,
bottles in?
what do you mean?
Like, how many bottles in total?
No, I have 6 bottles every day.
6 bottles a day for
Yeah,
three
it's
days?
like, yeah, so you get breakfast, a snack, a
Jesus.
morning snack, and then lunch, and then a snack, and then dinner, and then a dessert, like dessert. But I don't think I should drink that one. There's seeds in it. I feel like now it's gonna get lodged into, the
Okay, so
socket.
by which bottle did your outlook on the juice change?
Um,
The first one, I'm so glad it's tasting good. By which bottle are you like, oh, I kind of don't want to drink it?
okay, well, so the first day of the extraction, so the day of the extraction, I was relieved that I could drink the juice, and then I was like feeling good.
For the
And
first six
then,
bottles.
well, it was like half for
Mm,
the first day that I
okay.
was, so I mean, like that was fine. The next day, I was like, probably in the second bottle of the day, I was like, oh, like I think it was because mainly the flavor. It was like, I don't know, it's just like really earthy, drink. So, and like really green. So I was just like, oh, I don't really want to do this kind of thing. But I know my goal is, and the reason I started to do it is because I don't want to infect my wound or whatever. Like I just want to recover fine. So like I just kept going. And then that evening I was feeling like mental clarity. I felt like good. I was going to the washroom regularly and disposing all the bad stuff in my stomach maybe. So then at that point I'm like, okay, yes, I can do this. Like I feel it feels good. And then today with you, like with you eating in front of me, like I know the food looks and smells so good. And I love it when we go eat lunch and dinner together because you're like the biggest foodie ever. But actually, I was surprised. I think because I'm like trying to build mental clarity and like mental strength, actually, I wasn't craving what you were eating too badly. Like I didn't feel too bad for myself. I was
Mm.
like happy.
Yeah, so do you think, like all the nutrients aside, do you think if you can pull out your favorite bottle and all of the bottles were that flavor, it would have been easier for you, or it would have been harder because you need variety, even the bad tasting ones?
Yeah, I think I need variety. I thought about that too because I think there's like 3 bottles that I really like out of the 6, and every time I have a really good one, because I know there's a bad one in between, I really savor the good ones. So no, I don't think I would want just one juice. I would want all of them, even the bad ones.
But then the overall experience is not like a linear experience. It's like, oh, first bottle are really good. Oh, then it's like goes down and then
Yeah.
oh, it come back up again. Like,
Yeah. I was surprised because then I thought that I would be like fine, but I don't know. It's a weird feeling. And also I realized when I was taking the ibuprofen or whatever, I don't even know if I shouldn't not eat and take that. But I was fine too, because then I thought that I would be more fatigued. Like I'm not taking any solid food. Like it's a big difference for me, but actually, like a lot of people say that they miss the chewing part of it, like they miss chewing every day and like eating a meal, but I'm not so much anymore. I thought that I would, like I'm reacting much differently to it. And it might just be because I know that I'm doing this for a reason. I'm not just doing this for fun, you know?
do you think because the juice helps? If you were fasting, just not eating, if people eat around you, it'll be much harder for you to resist the food.
I think so. I think that's what made it like easier for me when you were eating, or when you and my brother were eating together, because I knew what I was drinking was like pretty good.
I
Like
noticed
I
that you
wasn't
were
missing
peeking
out on
over at my ramen
stuff.
quite a bit, you know?
Yeah, well, I had to make sure it was good, you know. It was more for you than for me.
Oh, okay, 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 I see.
Oh man, I'm like laughing and it hurts. Technically, I shouldn't be talking so much either, but all for the pod. We do it for the pod, you know?
Yeah, so afterwards, were you glad? Like even without this teeth and juice thing, were you glad that you were able to go through the experience of being tempted by food and making the choice to not eat?
Yeah, of course. Like, I think everyone should go
Yeah.
through this, and it helps build character. Like, that's the other thing that I'm like, oh, this is good. Like, I'm building my character. I'm building like mental strength, discipline, keeping on track, like everything. I think it's a good experience. And then it reminds me that if I really want to push myself and I really want to, achieve a goal, I could do it. So it's a nice reminder.
Yeah. Discipline is a very important thing. I think most people misunderstand what discipline is. I mean, not discipline, but what freedom is.
Yeah.
Most people
Yeah,
think,
exactly. Because then I'm like, remember when you were eating? I'm like, it's fine. I chose this, like I chose to put myself through this. So I'm gonna follow through with it type of thing.
well, there's something you said that was pretty interesting, but I'll go back to touch on that.
Sure.
But first, I want to say that like freedom, most people think of freedom as doing everything you like. When you ask
Mm,
people, oh, what's your life goal? I want to make enough money. I want to just lay down on the island, eat all the good food and do everything I want to do. But
right.
that's not really freedom. Freedom is lives side by side with discipline.
Mm,
When your freedom, is relied upon good things happening, you're giving up your choice. That's not freedom. Freedom is you being able to choose. Even if choosing to do the things that are unpleasant, you are choosing. So you're still free. Um,
I never saw it that way.
yeah, it's like if you everything in your life goes your way and you never have to encounter any resistance, like you're not really free. Whereas someone who's strong-willed, principled, disciplined, they decide things go well, things will go well. They decide things will go bad, things will go bad. That's freedom. They
Mm,
they are in control. They decide what will happen, even the bad things. They purposely choose that. And you ask me like, how can you be so disciplined on things? And
mhm.
then one of the main methods I use is what you said in the car when I was eating, and then you were like, oh, it's kind of easier for me to not be tempted right now because I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And that's that's true. But then what you don't notice is you always have a choice in life, but what you don't have a choice, this idea exists only in your mind.
Mm.
And you can control your mind. And with everything, you can put, I don't have a choice on any option you like. Like you, before you were like, you know, a lot of things you refuse to do that I think are good. Like, for
Yeah.
example, you refuse to try new food. You refuse to, I don't know, do things that are risky.
Hmm.
And when I ask you why, you always like, I can't. I just can't. That's not me. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
That's because you, in your mind, you took that out as a choice already. Like it's not even a choice. You wouldn't even consider it.
Hmm.
That's why like you're so mentally blocked. You're so close-minded. But you can actually apply the same trick to benefit you. You like instead of like the way I stay disciplined, not the only way, but one of the main ways is I look at what outcomes I want. This is my goal, and then this is the way to achieve it. And then I treat everything else as not an option. It's like I'm choosing this because I don't have a choice but to choose this in order to get the outcome I want. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel the same thing you felt in the car. You're like, I don't have a choice but to drink juice. Then when I pick something, like whether I don't want to do or it's more difficult to do, but it helped me to achieve my goal, I look at it in that way. I program my mind seeing it as the only choice. And that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why like really thinking of my end goal was the main thing too, because when I lose sight of that, I mean, there are times where I'm just like, oh yeah, it would be so nice to eat like what you're eating right now, but like I just never really lost sight of that goal that I have. And I think that it's good too that I'm going through this because now I can really apply it to my life more and not take things so lightly. Like I think it gives me more yeah, more discipline, but more willpower to continue seeking things forward than, or not forward, but more longer term than the short term decisions that I make on a day to day.
Mm. Yeah, it's like there's something somebody said was what makes people desperate and give up, it's not hardship, but it's that they don't see an end in sight.
Mm,
If somebody's going through difficult times and you tell them, oh, it's going to end in 1 minute, everybody can hold on for one more minute.
yeah.
But if you, even though it's still there's a 1 minute left, but then they don't know the clock in their mind, it might be endless and they lose hope and they give up.
Yeah.
So it's very important whenever you do something, like keep your eyes on the goal and keep on believing one day you're going to achieve it. It's getting closer, it's getting closer, and then it helps you to stay on course and do a lot more harder things than you otherwise would be able to do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
like
yeah, just counting down the days, like I already know, like, okay, I only have tomorrow, for this whole juice thing. Okay, on, the next day after that, I can start eating like soft foods and then I plan, it just it's just motivating too, because when you have even just like a short-term goal and then you complete it, but you're still keeping the long-term goal in mind, like the bigger picture, you make those bite-sized or steps to complete the bigger goal and you feel like you're accomplished at every step, whereas like if you don't like kind of savor every moment, and that's the thing too, is that I enjoy being at my highs and then being at my lows now, but I'm
mm.
not affected too much by being too high or being too low. Like
Being
similar to
too
you
high.
now, yeah, I try to keep it constant because I know there's going to be a roller coaster. That's and I think like when we talk about the stocks before, I think that that ties into that too, because I'm so like excited when I know Tesla is going up, and then I get so down when Tesla is going down. But at the end of the day, in the course of 1 month, I know it's going to go super high and super low, but I'm not looking for just 1 month, success, like success or returns. I'm looking for a 10-year mark, you know?
Yeah, it's like something with stock is everybody knows you shouldn't panic when it goes down. But
Yeah,
then very few people talk about don't get overly excited when it goes up either.
exactly.
People are a lot more okay with people celebrating when the stock goes up. Everybody celebrating. The news is, you know, saying, "Oh, the market is good," and like everybody's in a happy mood. But they go hand in hand. It's if you feel happy when the market goes up, then inevitably you'll feel down when the market goes down. So you got
Mhm.
to mellow both out. That goes back to like part of my philosophy in not over celebrating the regular achievements in life. If you know, but yeah, like people don't notice is like most people are able to achieve a lot more than they can. Like most people, they always say like, "Oh, I'm just weak like that," or like, "Oh, I just can't resist this." I just because they
Mhm.
haven't applied any of the mental what do you call it, approach or methods. If
Mhm.
they apply it well, people can achieve a lot more than they realize because most people only use a small part of their brain. There's something I heard. I don't know if it's like completely accurate, but it's like roughly is like your brain is 20% of your body weight, but then it consumes like 80-90% of your calories or something like this. Or this
Oh,
is so essentially it just means that your brain is the most powerful part of your body. So if you don't utilize it, then you just wasted, 90% of your talent, like what you're capable of, your potential.
okay. I don't know if this is like a thing, but like before, like I thought I was using my brain, and then I think about
I
more.
thought that was
No,
your.
seriously, I think about more complex ideas or
Mhm.
approaches, or just different ways of thinking, and my head would hurt. Like I would have a headache, and then I'm like, oh, like what is this? Like I'm thinking too hard. Like when people are like, oh, don't think too hard, don't hurt yourself. I felt like I was one of those people. And then now that I'm used to more complex ideas and methods, and just analysis overall, I don't have those headaches anymore. And the more I practice how to think, the quicker I am at making decisions.
Yeah, people's potential are 99% of the times bigger than they think. I
Yeah.
can't I can't stress this point enough. There's a phenomenon in sports where like nobody can achieve something until someone breaks a record. And then whatever that guy did, breaking the record, 10 years later, any average athlete is able to do it.
Hmm.
Not because the athletes became so much better, but because mentally they know this is possible. And
Yeah.
now everybody start to achieving it. And um, until one day, one person breaks the record again, and then 10 years later, any average athlete is going to achieve that record breaking performance now.
Yeah.
But like there's nothing blocking the person from 20 years ago to achieve today's record. But then it just mentally they're like, oh, the fastest guy in the world run 10 seconds. There's no way I can run 10 seconds. The fastest probably I can do probably 12. So they aim at 12 and they end up at 14. But when someone breaks the record and achieve 8 seconds, they're like, oh, the fastest man in the world can achieve 8. So even if I'm not that great, I can achieve 10. So they start achieving 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's like really good to push yourselves beyond the boundary, and thinking outside of the box. Like even though, and I know you always tell me this too, like even though the other person beside you, for example, or whoever you're comparing yourself to, hasn't achieved that goal, or you think there's a higher goal beyond what is everyone else is do it, just try to do it, because then you never know where you're going to end up, and you might surpass the goal that you tried going for anyways.
Yeah, why does it hurt to believe? It doesn't hurt. Like if it costs you the same amount, maybe more, but it costs you the same amount to believe you can do it versus you cannot do it.
I mean, like,
And when you like, even if the result is the same, let's say believing one way or the other doesn't change your outcome at all, you still believing you can still makes it more pleasant experience. Why would you want to feel down on yourself, believe you're not in control, you're the victim, you cannot do better every day, you tell yourself all these negative things.
yeah.
What, even if they're true, how does believing in it add to your life?
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Like I've been there before, and like misery loves company, and it's just easier to be
Misery.
negative. Honestly, like it's just easier to be negative than to be positive sometimes. Like there's just more negative people than there are positive people sometimes, and then they all aggregate, as opposed to like all the positive people, it's like too much, like, oh, this person is too chipper, or they're too, like, positive, or they're too happy. Like it became like a negative thing. To be cool, you have to be like negative. And then if you're too positive, it's just like, damn, that person is way too positive. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's what makes being positive a lot harder. Well,
Yeah.
being positive by yourself is already pretty hard, but then what makes it like really, really hard is when there's a bunch of negative surrounding you, it costs so much energy to keep up the energy to stay positive.
Hmm.
Like the negative energy will keep dragging you down.
Yeah. So that's why it's like now I learned how important it is to just surround myself with the type of energy that I want to be like. Like when I know, even if I get like an inkling of like, oh, there's this person's vibe is so like there's something off about it, even though they're portraying some sort of positive energy, but then there's an underlying like negative energy that I get from someone or like people around me. Like I kind of distance myself and see where they're at, because like maybe they're just going through a bump in their day, or maybe they're trying to fake it till they make it. Like there's so many things, but at the end of the day, if it's not genuinely positive, I don't want to be around it, because I want to protect my own energy that I'm trying to cultivate for myself.
Yeah, a lot of people like to bond over trauma. Like you tell your friends something bad happened to you, and your friends come along and they talk shit about the person or the thing. It
Yeah.
makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're supported. But then that's not always good. Like someone might argue that it's always bad. So be careful when someone always is agreeing with you. It's not always a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that before too. Like I didn't know that it adds to my emotions that I'm feeling. But when I recognize when I'm around someone, or even you actually, when you neutralize my emotions and like help me critically think about why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling and look inwardly than trying to be a victim or blaming someone else, it
Hmm.
really changes the tone of how I approach the situation, because then it like gives me back my power, even like, or the control that I have with experiencing those emotions.
Yeah, sometimes when you get stuck in emotions, it's difficult for you to assess it. Like
Yeah.
even if you want to be positive, and like when you, especially for those people who are negative all the time, negativity is just your default. You don't even realize. You just naturally go back to being negative. So you need those friends who will call you out. And
Yeah,
and
like it's
instead,
so important, and not just ones that just say that, like the ones who actually mean what they're saying.
yeah. So if you go to your friends or family or whoever, anybody you feel like they're close to you, and you start being negative, anybody who give you more reason to justify why you supposed to be negative, why your negativity is so justified, stay further away from them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you can still be friends and family with them, but then spend, if you can cut it out down your time you have to spend around with them, like spend, like I know it's hard when you feeling down, you just want to be comforted, but then someone calls you out and be like, nah, you're like victimizing yourself, and you should do better, you should work harder. It's harder to be around these people, but these are really the people that they will uplift you. And
Yeah.
yeah, like you should
Um,
consciously choose these people to be your friends and hang out with them more, rather than the people who like agree with all your negativity and saying they experience the same thing. Fuck, fuck man, fuck all man, fuck society, fuck the system, fuck government, like.
yeah. Um, I think like what helps too though, before even verbalizing anything to anyone else, is to go through the emotions by myself. Like if I'm at the height of my emotions, I'm livid, I'm boiling, just being by myself and like really letting myself feel those emotions. And like if I have to cry, I cry. Like if I have to like scream, I scream, and I do all the like weird shit by myself. And then when I'm feeling more like I'm more clear minded or have gone through the
Mhm.
emotions, then I feel like, okay, like what is actually happening here? And I can assess the situation a little bit better and even just like verbalize it and tell my side of the story from a less subjective way so that when other people do hear it, and I can kind of like gather my wits on like whether or not they're being genuine about their feedback to me, then I can also make an assessment on that.
There's two things I want to say about that. It's pretty
Mm,
interesting. Is a you're able to do that now because you're a lot more have a lot of more alone time than before. A lot
mm,
of people, they are never alone, and they're surrounded with these like agreeable negative people, and they don't even have time to process their feelings yet, and then these people jump in and tell them, no, you're right by feeling negative, you should, it's everybody else's fault. And
that's
they,
true too, actually. Yeah.
yeah, they just stop thinking about it. And so that for those people who hang out with other people all the time, they can't stay by themselves. Like you should,
Mm.
if you have to find a friend, find a more positive friend who will challenge you.
Mm-hmm. Or let it sit, right? Let it sit with you before having to tell anyone.
Yeah, I think that's the best way, but a lot of people find it too hard as a first step. Then, you can still hang out with friends, but find a better friend.
Yeah.
And then another
And
thing you touched on, I think
mhm.
it's interesting, is you say you talk to yourself. And I forgot where I heard this from, but somewhere in YouTube, they said, one of the ways I resolve an argument with my wife or husband is that we separate first. So when we're in the heat of the moment, we can't think straight and we separate first. And then when we separate, I argue to the mirror like I'm arguing with my wife or my
Yeah.
husband.
Mm.
And then afterwards, not only you comb through your thinking, but also you get everything, you get the emotions out. Like
Yeah.
anybody who's like had a big fight, like if you pace around the room and you yell and you scream at this mirror, after 20-30 minutes you get tired and your emotions go out, and now you calm down, all you want to do is resolve the problem rather than you want to hurt the other person to get your emotions back.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good method too. Whether you're going through a tough time or you're having argument with somebody, go argue with the mirror with the utmost passion for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Release all of your, whether it's hate or jealousy or whatever emotion, to channel it all out in your argument and then say it to the mirror. and tell the other person do the same, and then you reconvene in an hour or two, the conversation will go a lot better.
Yeah, I literally used to say this to like whoever argues with me, and I'm like not in the mood to argue, or like I just think it's so like irrelevant, is that I say, okay, like if you really want to argue, go argue by yourself and then come back to me and talk to me. That's like what I would say, because it's so like dumb sometimes where you're so into your emotions, and then it's just the argument doesn't even go anywhere. Discussion doesn't even go anywhere. So yeah, what's the point of even continuing to talk it out?
By the way, you guys don't do what she said, okay? It's
What?
yeah, like tones matter, okay? When you, especially when you're in an argument, when you say go argue by yourself, that
That's
won't
why
make the argument go better. Okay.
I know that's kind of like passive aggressive, but I think it's funny because like it's kind of logical in a way, but it is passive aggressive. Don't use that. It
Yeah,
depends on who you're talking to. So
but the
maybe
same,
say it in a better way, like, okay, like we're arguing for no reason, we're not getting anywhere. Let's separate each other or whatever.
yeah, the same thing said in two different ways can have dramatically different results.
That's true.
But yeah, like when you're arguing, talk like you're coming from the other person's best interest.
Hmm.
Like, like, oh, oh, seems like we're stuck on this problem. Both of us want to solve this problem, but like maybe if we separate for a little bit, we'll be able to solve this problem better, or something like the coming from, instead of like, this is my side, I'm the smart one, you're dumb, now you go figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
That's true.
not,
Well, this was like a long time ago that I used to say that, because I like to tackle problems now head on. So
yeah, there's
how
a,
how about us though?
what?
How do we do it
Well,
when
I'm
we
the
argue?
mature one, I'm the smart
Wow.
one, you know.
No, but I mean like our approach is pretty quick. Like our turnaround time is pretty quick. I think that for us it's a little bit different. And now that I've had more practice with this too, I can deal with a situation quicker. So even if we were to talk for 3 hours, I
This
think
is,
most of the time it's resolved.
but
No?
this is another thing I want to address to people's,
Sure. Yeah.
well, but first I wanted to talk about this experiment real quick.
Mm.
Is that they've done this study. They try to put two people on across to each other on a table to negotiate. And then they do the exact same thing with the same people, but put them on the same side of the table. And the results are actually significantly different. When people sit on the same side of the table, they reach to the agreement a lot easier.
Mm.
Because when they sit across the table, they see the other person as from the other side is more standoffish. And then when they sit together, close together, um they like feel at ease, even though it's the exact same problem. When they mentally they approach it as like, oh, we're from the same side, they
Mhm.
resolve the problem a lot better. And that's why like very good TV shows, they show this subtle detail where like top CEO who knows their shit, they go to negotiation, they pull the chair around, actually sit beside the person rather than sit across to the person on the table.
That's true.
So there's not always a table, but like mentally, that's how much a difference it can make. So like mentally make sure that you let the other person know, like, I'm on your side, and that
Yeah.
will solve half of the problems. Um, the other thing I want to say is, I think there's a misconception that people who think quicker are better at solving problems, and people who think slowly don't know their shit. I think that's a misconception. Like it works in different ways. It's kind of like an introvert extrovert. It's not one that's a lot better than the other. They just work differently. There's a person who told this story. Um, he was like, I forgot exactly who it is, but it's like a second hand at Apple, right beneath Steve Jobs. He calls Steve Jobs every day. That's how close they were. And he tells the story. He says, this is how I argue with Steve Jobs. I called Steve Jobs. I gave him 30 minutes argument, and he shut me down in 2 minutes. I hang up, and then I go comb through my logic, and I think of through my arguments because I think slow. And then after a week, I call him up again, and he's so quick. He shot my argument down in 2 minutes again. And I keep doing this. After 4 months, 5 months, all of a sudden, Steve Jobs says, "You know what? You are right. Let's do it your way." It's it's like some people think very fast like Steve Jobs, but then there's a limit to how far they can think, and or like a certain area they can think a lot better. Whereas there are people like the other person who think things very hard and slow, but then very consistent over a long period of time. It's like kind of like the turtle rabbit race story. The turtle eventually surpassed rabbit, but hopefully you're arguing with someone who can acknowledge that they're wrong. And like, because a lot of people in this arguments, 90% of arguments are about ego, not about who's right or wrong. And even if they know they're wrong, they wouldn't admit it. They will lash out, and they will show anger, they will be dismissive, they will be disrespectful. They do anything to get out of the argument rather to admit they're wrong. So that's a bigger problem. But other than that, I'm just trying to like explain that, like if you don't think as fast, you're the type of people who need to process information over even a week, and you come up with like more and more idea week after week. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's if you work around that, like work with your strength, it actually might turn out to be a strength.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think it depends though.
at the end, he said Steve Jobs came to the conclusion that if they couldn't agree after 6 months or something, he will always go to the other person's way, because that's how, like, because he acknowledged the other person think about this problem way longer and deeper than I did. Yeah, so.
Yeah. I think it depends though. I think it depends on the situation. I think depends on the topic. Like I feel like there's some things like for me now, at least when I come across like a problem or a situation or like that we need to talk about something, I say that it's quicker for me to make decisions or can speak on things because I practice um thinking about these things when I'm not with you, so then I have more of my own thinking and more of my own critical thinking instead of, oh, you're right, or, like it's just better to do that, even though maybe most of the time you are right. It's just like for my own sanity, even. Like I have my
Yeah,
own thoughts. It's not like, you're your own person and I'm my own person. So it should operate that way.
yeah, everybody, whether you're quick thinker or slower thinker, you can always do better. I'm actually naturally a slow thinker. The reason I'm quick is because all of the things we talk about, I've thought through like
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of times. So when you mention these things, for me, it's a shortcut. I'm like, oh, back then I thought about this and I arrived at this conclusion. Now that there it is.
Yeah.
When you tell me something brand new I never thought of, actually it takes me a long time to think through things.
But
But
that's
I'm
just
just,
it.
yeah, like I want everybody to improve, to do better, but I'm just trying to point out, just like how in business, actually introverts actually look down upon. Not like dramatically, but it's like it's kind of like passive, it's around. When people who don't go to parties, who don't wear a suit or flashy and talk very fast, they're not as seen as, oh, this business mogul type of thing.
Mhm.
And this same thing exists in the intellectual world, where if you're well-spoken doctor or lawyer, you're seen as a better doctor or a lawyer, but not necessarily. There are people who don't talk very well, but then they do extreme good research and they write good papers, and they're valuable too. So I just want to balance out the, the different type of people a little
That's
bit.
true too. Yeah. I've pivoted a lot from like, looking at extroverts and thinking they're that, tried and true of people and like who I should gravitate towards. But now I've changed it a lot and I've gravitated toward introverts because
Mhm.
I think that like it's one thing to be putting yourself out there and to be boastful even in a kind of way, but there's another thing when you're like boastful about everything, but actually don't know what you're saying. And I think that's more of a turnoff for me. I rather have someone who's like quiet about things or like goes under the radar, but knows everything. Like I just think that's like there's something about someone like that. Well, well, goes to say that I'm with you and you're kind of like that too. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
why I
I think
think
it's just
it's a pretty big misconception. Like in the business world, I've been to a lot of
huge, huge. Yeah.
I've been to a lot of business classes. I've seen a lot of business teaching on YouTube and whatnot. Most people say, "Oh, the natural preference in business is extrovert, but you're an introvert, you can still do it." They sound like, it's a natural disadvantage. Like you won't do as well, but you can try harder.
And I
But
hate
if
that.
you look at all the billionaires in the world, like all the richest of the rich, 90% of them are introverts.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
like Warren Buffett's introvert, Mark Zuckerberg introvert, Elon
Mm.
Musk introvert, Bill Gates introvert. Like even Steve Jobs is introvert. Like everybody is introvert.
Yeah.
So
I just like personally too, like being in a business environment, I hate it when someone is so loud in the room and then you ask them something and they literally bullshit their way through everything. And I'm like, I rather not deal with people like that, especially if I'm like doing a deal or something. For example, like if I'm in corporate and I'm doing a deal, I rather have someone tell me straight up and not fake it till you make it because something is so important that it's going to affect how the company, goes or like anything. I just rather not have to deal with mistakes later on because someone is being dumb and think that they're doing good by me by pretending or like faking it till they make it. And I guess from my experience too, because I am an introvert, everyone that I deal with
oh, you're an
who,
introvert now?
no, I'm sorry, I'm an extrovert. Did I say introvert? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert, and I think everyone who I've ever dealt with in my previous tech job, that if I didn't know anything, I wouldn't really fake it. Like I would tell them straight up. I would be like, "Hey, like I don't know the answer to this, but we'll find out together." I think that's more of a service to whoever you're dealing with than trying to bullshit your way through it. Like it's just disastrous at that point. And it's oft it's we see that often in business. So yeah, I've changed my outlook on
Well, I just want to
introverts.
point out real quick that what you're talking about is the stereotype of extrovert. Not actually, that's not the characteristic of an extrovert.
Okay,
Extrovert means uh, you charge your energy by spending time with other people, and it drains you by being alone.
this
And
is true.
introverts means you charge your energy by being alone, and then you release your energy by spending time with other people. But with
Yeah.
that being said, I want to ask you, do you think it's possible to shift? Like did you shift, for example, before maybe it it energizes you a lot by hanging out with people, but now since your thinking has changed, like does it drain you sometimes spending time with other people now?
Yeah, for sure. I think like there's still a spectrum of like extroverts and introverts and like there's you sure you can be an extrovert but you lean towards more the introvert side. You know what I mean? Like or there's introverts that lean toward more the
Yeah, but
extrovert
like
side.
there was actually a pretty big debate thing over like if personality is born or it has some influence by environment.
Yeah.
And there are people who say your personality is your personality. If you're extreme introvert, as an example, you could adapt different ways of acting that shows uh, the characteristic of extrovert, but then you're still introvert. And I'm just wondering, it's like even possible to shift a little bit? Like you think you're less extroverted than before
I
now?
think so, like from the stereotypical point of view that you like mentioned earlier, which is why I'm so
No, 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 no,
passionate
no, no, no,
about.
no, not the stereotypical. Like it drains, let's say before it energized you to spend time with other people every time. But now with certain people, it drains you instead. Does that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah, of course. But I'm
Before,
tying it in with the stereotypical because usually the stereotypical thing is that if you are extrovert, you know, you hang out with people who are more like you.
but
So it doesn't matter
before,
actually, hold on, it doesn't matter actually whether you're an extrovert or introvert. If I'm hanging out with someone and like literally like their vibe or like whatever they're interacting with me is freaking BS, I don't want anything to do with it and it's draining. Or the quality of the conversation. If the conversation, whether it's extrovert or introvert, or for me, whether I feel like I am energized or not energized, is based on the quality of the conversation. If the conversation is about cats, not that I hate cats, I like it's fine, but like if you continuously have like a um just like an airhead conversation about cats and like it doesn't go anywhere, I get so drained.
but now are you drained by the people and the topics that you weren't trained from before? Or is it still the same?
No, like I said, it depends on the quality of the conversation. If I'm learning something, if I'm gaining insight on something that is so like the topic is boring or the category is so boring, but the quality of the conversation is there, I will feel energized. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I tied it in with the stereotype type stuff. Because normally I wouldn't talk to someone who doesn't, converse back.
No,
Does
but
that make
like,
sense?
no, I'm trying to say like, is there a tolerance for what's like, is there a threshold for what's high quality has gone up? Like before, if 10 conversation happen, 8 of them are high quality to you, it didn't drain you. But now either exact same 10 conversations, you only think 3 of them are high quality now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then the other 7 are now draining you when they
Yeah,
didn't drain you before, because before you thought they were high quality conversation, but now you don't think so anymore.
yeah, it did change. And that's why I think like now I cannot tolerate like certain topics or when it doesn't matter if it's a like the same topic but different person. If someone can talk about a topic and be, engaging or like whatever, I can it's fine for me to like go through is not as draining. But would I prefer to? No, I wouldn't. If I had a choice to entertain something or not, like it again would be like the quality of the conversation.
It's interesting because I think you're leaning more toward extrovert, but then you're like kind of has introvert qualities too. It would
Yeah.
be interesting to ask someone who's extreme extrovert who gets energized by everybody. And if when as they grow, will they think people's conversations are less quality, therefore drain them more? I think that would be an interesting. But anyways,
Yeah.
but let's any more thoughts to any of this?
No, I think that, just I think the main thing coming from this conversation is maybe like spending time by yourself and figuring out, what topics you think or have an opinion on. Because before, I really don't have an opinion about certain things and I'm indifferent and I like conform to what everyone else around me thinks. But now it's so important to have like an opinion or to add value in some way to a conversation. So yeah, spending time by myself and your recommendation, like spend 2 weeks just by yourself, like, you know, helped me so much more.
But this advice is people specific though. If you're the type of people who spend, all the time by yourself, you should go out and meet some people. If you're the type of people who surround yourself with people all the time, then spend some more time by yourself. Like basically do something new, right? Like try
Yeah,
something that doesn't make you that's that you don't just default to. That's the most comfortable thing to for you.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a value regardless of who you are.
yeah. Don't live life on autopilot, basically.
Yeah, don't live life based on what's normal to you.
Yeah.
You need to get
So,
up and start being yourself. No, I'm joking.
do you have anything else?
No, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
So,
wrap
having
it up.
said, huh?
Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah. So, having said all of that, don't be normal, be yourself. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.